We are back with another college basketball transfer portal update as things are continuing to heat up with more and more players entering the portal and committing to new schools. And in today's video, we are going to be going over all of the latest news. Let's jump into it. To start us off, we have one of the biggest stories of the transfer portal with Baylor freshman and former five-star guard Rob Wright entering the transfer portal and committing to BYU. Wright is rumored to have been offered over $3 million to join Kevin Young and the Cougar squad next season. The 6'1 freshman started 21 games for the Bears last year, averaging 11.5 points, 4.2 assists, and earning all Big 12 freshman team honors. Wright is a crafty pick-and-roll playmaker with strong finishing ability and an elite catch-and-shoot game. With his offensive upside and three-level scoring, Wright could become one of the most dynamic guards in the country for BYU and now forms a three-headed monster with BYU guard Richie Saunders and incoming freshman AJ Dybantsa. And Kentucky just made a massive splash by landing Jayden Quaintance, one of the top NBA prospects in college basketball. The former Arizona State standout and projected top 5 pick in the 2026 NBA draft joins Mark Pope's Wildcats after recovering from ACL surgery with clearance expected to be by September. And at just 17 years old, Quaintance averaged 9.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks last season, and is one of the biggest moves in the transfer portal, and this addition gives Kentucky a game-changing presence and raises their ceiling for next year. And Kentucky wasn't done there, as former 4-star recruit and Alabama forward Mouhamed Dioubate is transferring to Kentucky, bringing strength, physicality, and high-level energy to Mark Pope's front court. Dioubate averaged 7 points and 6 rebounds in just 16 minutes per game last year at Alabama, and he's elite in transition, one of the best offensive rebounders in the SEC, and fits perfectly in Mark Pope's system as a screener and a cutter. Add in his rim protection and defensive presence, and this is a big-time pickup for the Wildcats. UNC made a move in the transfer portal as Colorado State transfer Kyan Evans has committed to North Carolina, giving the Tar Heels a major backcourt boost. The 6'2 guard was a key contributor for the Rams in the NCAA tournament and averaged 10.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists per game last season, with impressive shooting splits of 47% from the field, 45% from 3, and 85% from the line. His efficient playmaking and scoring make him a strong addition for UNC, especially with the losses of RJ Davis and Elliot Cadeau. And just one day after falling in the national championship, Houston bounced back with a major addition, adding in Creighton transfer Pop Isaacs. The 6'2 junior guard averaged 16.3 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 3.9 assists before a season-ending hip injury last year, but he capped his season with a 27 point, 7 rebound, and 4 assist performance in a win over Kansas. Isaac's toughness and scoring ability make him a strong fit for Kelvin Sampson's system as the Cougars reload for another run, and is one of the reasons why Houston is rated so highly for next year. And one of the top names in the transfer portal, Wesley Yates from USC, is headed back to Washington after a breakout year with the Trojans. The 6'4 redshirt freshman averaged 14 points per game while shooting nearly 44% from deep. And known for his elite offensive skill set, Yates is a dynamic athlete who can score it at all 3 levels and thrives off the catch. Yates was originally at Washington before having to redshirt due to an injury his freshman year, but he now returns as a major piece for Danny Sprinkle's rebuild. Former 5-star recruit Jalil Bethea is transferring from Miami to Alabama, looking for a fresh start after a tough freshman season. While he didn't quite meet expectations in year 1, Bethea is still known for his elite shooting ability, and with great size and plenty of upside, he has the physical tools to thrive at the next level. Now at Alabama, the question is, when will it all come together for the talented guard? But Bethea has the ability to thrive in Nate Oates' system, and that's not all the Crimson Tide did, as they also went and added in another transfer in Taylor Bull Bowen, the 6'10 forward and former top 100 recruit from Florida State. Miami transfer guard Nigel Pack has committed to Oklahoma after a challenging season with the Hurricanes. The 6-foot senior, a career 40% shooter from 3, played just 9 games this year due to injury, but still scored 22 points against Arkansas. Pack started his career at Kansas State and averaged 13.9 points and 4.3 assists per game last season at Miami, but after a tough year due to injury and the retirement of coach Jim Larrañaga, he now looks to make an impact at Oklahoma with Porter Moser. And the Sooners also added in Notre Dame transfer forward Tae Davis, who's going to be a significant piece piece on the Sooners roster. The 6'9 junior averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, and nearly 2 assists per game on 48% shooting this season, and established himself as one of the most improved players in the ACC last year. Davis scored 20 plus points 8 times over the course of the season, including a 22-point, 8-rebound performance against Houston. He is currently going through the NBA draft process, but he would be a major addition for the Sooners if he decides to return to school. Kansas freshman Flory Bidunga, one of the top transfers in the portal, has agreed to a deal to stay at Kansas. The 6'9 forward had a solid freshman season, averaging 6 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 1.5 blocks on 70% shooting in 34 games. Bidunga is a former top 20 recruit and was a key contributor last season, and his return helps bolster the Jayhawks frontcourt with the departures of Hunter Dickinson and KJ Adams. And Kansas also added in Illinois transfer Tre White, which helps provide some depth to Bill Self's roster. Illinois just got a lot bigger as Arkansas transfer Zvonimir Ivisic has committed to Illinois, where he'll team up with his twin brother Tomislav to form a towering 7-foot duo under Brad Underwood. The 7'2 Croatian big man averaged 8.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and nearly 2 blocks in just 19 minutes per game last season, while also shooting 38% from 3. With 2 years of eligibility left, Big Z brings size, skill, and spacing to an Illini frontcourt that's going to be a very tough matchup for any team this year. And Indiana went ahead and added themselves another transfer as Davidson forward Reed Bailey has committed to the Hoosiers, giving them one of the most dominant mid-major players in college basketball last season. The 6'10 forward from Massachusetts took a major leap this past year, averaging nearly 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, earning all A10 first-team honors. And known for his versatility and playmaking, Bailey had multiple near triple-doubles and brings a high upside all-around game to the Hoosiers and Darian DeVries' first season as head coach. And Buzz Williams and the Maryland Terrapins added in 2 more transfers as Maryland landed a commitment from Indiana transfer guard Myles Rice, adding in a talented and experienced playmaker to its backcourt. The 6'3 guard averaged 10 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds this past season and has 2 years of eligibility remaining. A former 4-star recruit and South Carolina native, Rice previously starred at Washington State, where he averaged 15 points and was named the 2023-24 Pac-12 Rookie of the Year. Maryland also landed David Coit, who is an underrated pickup. The 5'11 guard averaged just 5 points at Kansas last season, but don't forget, he was a dominant scorer at Northern Illinois, putting up over 20 points per game in back-to-back years. With 1 year of eligibility left, Coit brings experience, leadership, and a serious scoring punch that Maryland desperately needs. And with the Terrapins, he should have more freedom to play his game and make a real impact in the Terps' backcourt. Arizona's star guard and transferred KJ Lewis has committed to Ed Cooley in Georgetown. The 6'4 sophomore guard averaged 11 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1.3 steals in 37 games last year. A high-energy 2A guard, Lewis brings relentless intensity, elite defense, and the ability to attack the rim and finish through contact. He joins a revamped Georgetown roster that's adding serious talent and toughness across the board. And Georgetown also added in Isaiah Abraham, the former 4-star recruit from UConn. Vanderbilt transfer big man Jaylen Carey has committed to Tennessee, giving the Vols a strong athletic presence in the front court. The 6'8 forward began his career at James Madison before spending last season at Vandy, where he averaged 8 points and 6 rebounds overall. Jaylen Carey brings toughness, energy, and SEC experience to Rick Barnes' squad as they reload for another run. And Wisconsin added in a big transfer of their own as San Diego State guard Nick Boyd is heading to Wisconsin for his final year of college hoops. The experienced guard averaged 13.5 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists this past season and brings NCAA tournament pedigree with 3 appearances, including a Final Four run with FAU in 2023. Boyd is a versatile pick-and-roll playmaker who can thrive on or off the ball and is a great addition for Greg Gard and the Badgers. And Michigan State has added a big commitment as Florida Atlantic transfer Kaleb Glenn has committed to the Spartans, giving Tom Izzo a long, athletic wing with some serious upside. The 6'7 sophomore averaged 12.5 points and nearly 5 rebounds while shooting 41% from 3 this past season. A former 4-star recruit, Glenn thrives in transition and as a rim cutter, ranking in the 90th percentile in both. And with a shot profile built around threes and finishes at the rim, he's a perfect fit alongside point guard Jeremy Fears and brings some much needed three-point shooting to this Michigan State team. And in one of the most recent commitments, Michigan has landed a major piece out of the portal with 7'3" UCLA transfer Aday Mara committing to Michigan. The former 5-star recruit from Spain brings elite size and international experience to the Wolverines, and in just 13 minutes per game this season, Mara averaged 6.5 points, 4 rebounds, a block and a half, and flashed solid passing instincts with 1 assist per game. And despite his limited minutes, his impact is very clear. And now with a bigger role likely ahead, Mara could be a game changer in Ann Arbor, and now joins Yaxel Lindeberg, Morez Johnson Jr., and Elliot Cadeau to give Michigan the #1 transfer portal class in all of college basketball. Now let's take a look at some of the best available players in the transfer portal. Former 5-star guard Ian Jackson is in the portal after a strong freshman season at North Carolina, where he averaged 12 points and shot 40% from deep. The 6'4" McDonald's All-American hit 20+ points 8 times this year, including big games versus Alabama and UCLA. A New York native, Jackson is expected to be a top target for Rick Pitino and St. John's, but is also drawing some consideration from other programs like Illinois and Arkansas. But returning home to a resurgent program like St. John's could be the perfect next step for the explosive scorer, and I predict Ian Jackson is going to be a member of St. John's next season. Texas Tech junior Darrion Williams has entered the transfer portal while also declaring for the NBA draft. The 6'6" forward started all 34 games for the Red Raiders last year, averaging 15 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.3 steals per game, which earned him all Big 12 first team honors. A projected second-round pick in the NBA draft, Williams was electric in the NCAA tournament, putting up 23.7 points per game over his final 3 contests. If he returns to college, he'll be one of the most sought-after transfers in the portal, with schools like Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, and UConn already showing interest, and a return to Texas Tech is always possible as well. And maybe one of the more surprising entrants into the transfer portal, the Big East Player of the Year and St. John's guard RJ Lewis has entered the portal. The 6'7", 215-pound wing was one of the best transition scorers in college basketball and attacks the rim with a vengeance. Lewis earned Big East Player of the Year for a reason, but there's another level he can elevate his game to with added feel and better decision making and another jump as a shooter. Lewis is also eyeing the NBA, but he can be one of the elite two-way wings in college basketball if he returns for next year. And there have been a lot of schools that are reported to be interested in Lewis, such as Duke, Michigan State, Kentucky, and Kansas, but it still seems just too early to tell what RJ Lewis is going to do. Maryland's star guard Rodney Rice has entered the transfer portal, and after his first healthy season at Maryland, he flourished, turning into a bucket-getting guard who can fill it up at all 3 levels. Rice made 83 pointers at a 37% clip last season and showed a versatility as a secondary ball handler who can get to his spots in the middle of the floor with ease. Rice could be a little streaky, but when he got rolling, watch out, as he was one of the deadliest shooters in the country. And with a slightly higher usage rate, Rodney Rice could breeze his way to averaging double digits, and he recently announced that he is down to his final 6 schools, and they are Maryland, Villanova, Tennessee, Auburn, USC, and Gonzaga, and my prediction is that it'll come down between Villanova and Tennessee. Princeton guard Xaivian Lee is one of the most skilled and complete guards in the portal. The 6'4" Princeton star averaged 17.7 points, 6 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game, flashing elite shot-making ability off the dribble and incredible poise in pick and rolls. Lee's step-back jumper is lethal, and his smooth handle allows him to create for himself and others. And with 1 year of eligibility left, Xaivian Lee is receiving interest from multiple teams, but it looks like he's down to just 3 schools, which are Florida, Duke, and St. John's, and I'm expecting him to sign with Todd Golden and the Florida Gators. Mississippi State forward Keyshawn Murphy is officially in the transfer portal and will be one of the most sought-after bigs available. The 6'10" junior from Birmingham averaged 11.7 points, 7.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and a block per game while shooting an efficient 57% from the field across 34 appearances this past season. And with 1 year of eligibility remaining, Murphy brings size, scoring, and rim protection to the table, making him a valuable piece for programs looking to add an experienced and productive frontcourt presence. And Alabama forward Jarin Stevenson has officially entered the NCAA transfer portal with a do not contact tag, signaling he likely already knows where he's headed to next season. The 6'11 sophomore and former top 50 recruit started 22 games for the Crimson Tide this year, averaging 5.5 points and 3.5 rebounds. With 2 years of eligibility remaining, it's rumored that Stevenson is drawing early attention from North Carolina and NC State, and being that he is from Chapel Hill, my early prediction is that he will be returning home to play for the Tar Heels next season. Cincinnati forward Dillon Mitchell has officially entered the portal. The 6'8 junior started all 35 games for the Bearcats this past season, averaging 10 points on 61% shooting, along with 7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, and 1.5 steals per game. Mitchell is a former 5-star recruit and McDonald's All-American and played 2 seasons at Texas before transferring to Cincinnati. He's known for his elite athleticism, defensive versatility, and transition game, and it's reported that Mitchell is visiting St. John's this weekend and could be a perfect fit for Rick Pitino and the Johnnies. One of the most intriguing players in the transfer portal this season for me is Kanon Catchings out of BYU. The 6'9" wing flashed serious potential during his freshman year with the Cougars, averaging 7 points and 2 rebounds per game, while shooting 35% from deep. His minutes fluctuated on a deep Cougars roster, but the former 4-star recruit still showed glimpses of what makes him such a coveted prospect, being his size, length, athleticism, and a smooth shooting stroke. And after just 1 season in Provo, Catchings has hit the portal, and now he's drawing interest from programs like Georgia and North Carolina, with the Tar Heels trending as the favorite. Sam Houston State transfer Lamar Wilkerson is one of the top guards in the portal, and he's set to visit Indiana, Kentucky, Auburn, and Ole Miss before making his decision. Wilkerson averaged 20.5 points per game this season, while shooting an elite 44.4% from 3. And at over 40% from deep on his career, he's a versatile offensive weapon who can shoot off movement, run the pick and roll, and attack closeouts. And scoring at the next level definitely won't be an issue for Wilkerson, as he is one of the best offensive players in the portal currently and could play a big role for a title contender in the upcoming season. And my official prediction is that Wilkerson will commit to the Kentucky Wildcats for next year, as I love the fit and believe he would excel in that system. And Michigan State guard Tre Holloman has also entered the transfer portal after a solid season in East Lansing. The 6'2 playmaker averaged 9 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds across 37 games, and started in 16 of them for the Spartans. Known for his steady playmaking and reliable scoring, Holloman was a key part of Michigan State's rotation, and now in the portal, he's drawing high major interest with scheduled visits to Baylor, North Carolina, NC State, and Villanova. And lastly, one of my favorite players in the portal is Grand Canyon star Tyon Grant-Foster, and he's one of the biggest names available. The 6'7 guard averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 1.5 steals last season, earning WAC Player of the Year honors and leading the Antelopes to a 2nd straight NCAA tournament. At 25 years old, Tyon Grant-Foster brings elite athleticism, two-way impact, and a serious scoring upside. He was projected to be picked in the 2024 NBA draft before opting to return to college and will be a huge addition for any school next year. And with the transfer portal continuing to evolve, I'll be posting another update video later next week. And if you're enjoying all of the content, please make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.